if you get someone in that doesn't really fit or mesh or work well in your culture, it's going to impact your yields. It's going to impact your safety, your quality and efficiency, everything about your business. And it's just going to dishearten the employees that you have.
Hello, meat folks. Welcome back to the MeatsPad podcast. It is your humble host, Phil Bass. I'm going to confess to everyone out there, I'm terribly tardy to this meeting, and one of my biggest pet peeves is folks being late to things, and that's me. But thankfully, we have a very gracious guest with us, Kevin Trosclair, and Kevin owns and operates with his wife Mountain View Meats in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Kevin, thanks for joining today.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So first, can you just describe a little bit about your business, and then we'll kind of get in a little bit more to the meat and potatoes of why I wanted to have you on the program today.
Sounds great. Yeah, we own and operate Mountain View Custom Meats. We've been here, about 18 years, and we are primarily a custom shop. About 98% of our business is custom. We do approximately 800 beef a year, 800 hogs a year, and 200 to 300 lambs and goats. We stopped doing wild game about a year and a half ago, or about a year ago now, just due to the chronic wasting disease for one, and for two, we were just getting so busy with domestic animals, we just couldn't manage both.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't, shame on me, I haven't made it up to your shop yet, but I hope to in the near future. But Kevin is part of the Northwest Meat Processors Association, which is a branch of the American Association of Meat Processors. Kevin and I were visiting at the meeting last year in Hermiston, Oregon. Moves around every year, but in Hermiston, Oregon, we were sitting there at the breakfast table and just kind of talking about the meat business in general. And at that time, and really honestly, it's kind of the topic of discussion in nearly every conversation amongst meatheads is challenging labor issues, and not only hiring but maintaining good employees and maintaining good folks that are going to stick around. And Kevin, you and Heather kind of have a little bit different approach based on our conversation. I want you to elaborate on that just a little bit and share with the folks what we talked about. One of the things that I noticed was you're not bashful about paying your employees, which helps to keep them around. You have an amazing culture, and then you have a number of benefits that go along with it. So maybe talk a little bit about some of your employees. Don't name names, of course, but some of your employees. Talk about their tenure with you and why you think they stick around.
Well, again, like you said, it's culture. Mm-hmm. We really we focus on it, and we work on it all the time. The primary things for our business that we always start with is that it's safety, quality, and efficiency. So those three things guide our business in all areas and all facets. And so when we look at even hiring someone, we want to make sure that they understand those three concepts well, and that from a culture standpoint, they would fit in with the culture that we have. I mean, a culture is so important to us that we're willing to do less business if we can't find an individual to fit in with our culture. Because if you get someone in that doesn't really fit or mesh or work well in your culture, it's going to impact your yields. It's going to impact your safety, your quality and efficiency, everything about your business. And it's just going to dishearten the employees that you have. And so, it's very important to, always focus on the culture. For us, from a pay standpoint, we pay at the highest rate we can pay. We look at the prevailing wage and we just disregard it. It's just something that we pay what the business can afford to pay. We offer 401ks. We offer paid time off. We have a Christmas bonus. We do Thanksgiving turkeys for the employees. We do birthday meals. We give employee discounts on meat and processing. And we put in a POS system a couple years ago and then added the option of tips. We don't ask the customers or anything like that, but it's there when they pay. So we take all those tips quarterly and we collect them all up and we divvy them out to the employees. So none of those tips come to us. They just go straight to the employees. So, for instance, this year, around January, we went through our fourth quarter. We had 8 full-time employees at the time. Each of those employees got about $650 in tip money. So it's just something else that we do. We also tell our employees, though, that those tips aren't just given, those are earned. So anytime you see a customer that needs a hand, if they need if somebody's needs help getting them loaded out or unloading their animals, having it done in a timely fashion. If you see a piece of trash in the parking lot as you're walking into work in the morning, pick it up. Just everything to make the customer experience go well. And it provides just that incentive, for the tips. We don't do it for the tips. We do it because we want to do excellence for our customers. But the tips are a nice thing to give out to the employees.
Every time we visit, I'm always impressed. And I want to recap on a couple of those items just for the listeners out there, because we have a lot of small operators that are listening right now. But I also want the big operators to listen too, because I know you're out there. High wage, not the prevailing wage, but high wage. Okay. But it's got to be the right person too. Like you said, the culture depends on the people that are there. And so finding the right fit, you can pay them well. 401ks. So building for their future. I mean, my goodness, you can't demonstrate how much more you care about somebody than thinking about them and their future, which is going to help for their family later on. That's amazing. Holiday bonuses, but then also holiday meat bonuses, which, I mean, come on, who doesn't like to have a turkey given to them at Thanksgiving? That would be fantastic. And I've never heard of this idea of tips, but it sounds like it's a newer one for you. But for the smaller operators out there that are starting to move into maybe that electronic till, or even if you're still all analog, I would say cash and paper receipts and everything, you can still put out a tip jar. And wow, what an incentive to just optimize your facility, optimize your employees, and then not only are you giving that holiday bonus, but you're also giving them a shot in the arm with the tips that are shared out. And so I can't commend you enough, honestly. And I'm not saying that just because I have you on here on the podcast, but this is an excellent model. And that's why I wanted you on, because this is such an excellent model that that a lot of us need to consider, because employee benefit and employee welfare keeps them around. And can you talk a little bit about how you maybe some of the tenure of some of your employees? I know you haven't been open for a very long time, but how long have some of your employees been around? And also let's talk about the cost of turnover.
Oh, that's tremendous in our business. This is skilled labor. And it's, some people say that that meat cutting is an art. If you talk to a meat scientist, they say meat cutting is not an art. It's just undocumented science, right? But it's it's not something you can just take somebody off the street and they come in and understand your process, your business, your facility. Because even if you know how to cut meat or you know how to slaughter, just learning how to do it in a facility is a different process, and it takes time. So that we've had people in our business almost all 18 years. We've had primary people in our business for 5 to 7 years. So we've got a really good retention rate. Um, but we've had people that we've come in, we've done everything we could to see, if this culture works for them or this shop works for them, and it doesn't. And so we're also not afraid to just go, we're not a good fit, because it's not worth putting up with um, issues or that over time just to get more meat out the door. It's just not worth it. But I mean, there's other things that we do as well. We offer medical benefits, so we pay 50% of their medical. Um, um, we just the other small things. I provide good boots for everybody and good even insoles, right? Just because you're on your feet all day on concrete, I want to make sure you're comfortable. I provide rain gear for the slaughterhouse folks and for my cleanup folks. So I want to make sure they stay warm, they stay dry, and they stay healthy. So I have bump caps for everybody. I have cutting gloves for everybody. It's just one of those things. Um, it's just all part of the whole program. Um, as far as retention goes, it provide a good environment, provide scheduled work, provide good equipment, provide safe equipment. So those are just some of the things from the internally what we do. There are external things that we do as well, but those are some of the internal things.
Well, and I want folks that are out there to go to their website, which is mountainviewcustommeats.com, and you can see some of the images of the shops, and I mean it's such a welcoming environment. It looks like. Again, I haven't had the opportunity to go and see the shop, and I promise, Kevin, I'll come by someday. I promise. But but just from the images that are there, I mean, it's clearly there's a lot of pride that's taken in just the outward appearance of the building, and even all the way down to the website and everything. There's a lot to be said about if you present oneself well, then there's a good chance that you're gonna continue in that process. Take the time to work on the details, like you said, and all the way down to providing good boots and insoles. I mean, it's something as common and as easy as that may be, such a relatively inexpensive investment to help keep those folks comfortable while they're working. It's not an easy job, meat cutting, but it is a very rewarding job. And for those who are out there working on the line, we really appreciate what you do. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I get a chance every once in a while to go out and make a mess at our meat lab at the University of Idaho. But I can definitely say, it can tax one if you don't have the proper equipment. And so by maintaining good equipment, by making those investments, you're going to have less turnover. And less turnover means more efficiency. Let's be real here. I mean, if you can, every time you have to retrain a new person, that's taking time out of your day, Kevin. That's taking time out of your other people. Others are having to carry that extra load, and you're not running the business necessarily. You're just constantly training. Whereas if you have good folks that want to be there, and again, this is for any size operation out there. If you have folks that want to be there, life's going to be pretty easy. And it does take sometimes that conversation to have with someone that if it's not a good fit for them, help them find something else. And it's not, you can't work here. It's let's find a better career path for you, and ultimately that's gonna pay off later on as well. So I love the conversation. This is exactly what I was hoping for, and you've said so much in a short period of time, and I'm saying an awful lot too. But Kevin, can you mention just a little bit, because you have kind of an unusual story? Tell us a little bit about how you got into this business.
Well, it's kind of I guess it has to do with my background. My family's Cajun. And so from that standpoint, we were always involved with hunting, fishing. cooking, making meat, making sausage, all that kind of thing. So that was my upbringing. I went to work for Albertsons as a kid in the meat department as a cleanup kid, just because I wanted to be around it. Then I went in the Air Force. I did some different things and ended up back in the meat department, going to military meat school for various reasons. And so got into the meat cutting, officially became a journeyman in the Air Force. And then Air Force decided to do away with meat cutters. So I did something else. In the meantime, I got a business degree and a couple of other degrees, and then got out of the military and got into the corporate world and did the corporate world thing for 15 years. And then at about age 39, age 40, I said, I kind of want to get back to what I love. After 3 million air miles, I decided I would like to have my commute across my driveway. So we opened up a meat shop when I was 40. People told me I was crazy. And we've just been building it up ever since. And it's always been important to me, again, to have, education is a key. That's why I'm very strong in the apprenticeship program, and very much an advocate for that program. And it's always been important to me to have efficiency. From my manufacturing days in the corporate world, it was all about process, scheduling, consistency, and policy and procedure, and the good equipment that is as much state of the art as you can afford.
Yeah. Well, like I've mentioned, you've said so much in a relatively short period of time, and I'm not going to take too much more of your time, but I really appreciate this. I commend you. I really hope others out there listening take this to heart. Take good care of your employees. Build a good culture where they want. It's a place where they want to come and take pride in the business. To the part where they're maybe not necessarily from a classical sense business partners, but they have ownership and where they really want to be there and just make the thing succeed. And so again, thank you so much, Kevin. For everyone out there, please go out and check out mountainviewcustommeats.com. Hopefully we can crash your website and and continue to drive folks to look at improving business. So Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.